Thank you for joining me on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast. This short season is solo episodes from myself, Lysha Holmes, and I'm your host. I'm just sharing some insights and thoughts in these short, snappy episodes, which I hope you can walk away from today with one or two things that you can do as small changes to improve yourself. So today's topic, I want to talk around well-being. And for those who don't know, I'm a solo parent, so I've been bringing up my daughters totally by myself since 2019 and running a business, obviously running a desk, running a podcast, as well as all the other elements of life. I am a huge advocate for ensuring that your own well-being is the most important thing you invest your time in. Now, if you're listening to this episode on a podcast, I'm going to make an assumption that as a person, you want to improve and develop yourself, because those people who take time in their day to listen to podcasts as opposed to not just listening to music, because that's absolutely fine too, you're wanting to improve yourself. So I think first and foremost, that's the key thing, that you've made a decision in your life that you want to improve where you're at and you want to make the best version of yourself. What I'd like to share with you today are three revelations, I suppose, that I've learned over the last few years of being a solo parent that you're probably already aware of, but I have these as the kind of foundation of every single day of my life. First and foremost, the most important thing is sleep. Your sleep health, it underpins everything else that we do. If you don't have a great night's sleep once, you can kind of get through the day. But if you start to develop poor sleep habits, it actually can then create a really awful cascade effect into your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And so I believe in prevention rather than cure. I'll give you an example. How often do you actually go to bed early? And I'm talking 7, 8 o'clock at night, a ridiculous time, a time that you probably put a small child to bed. Now, of course, those of you listening who do have a family and that you're thinking, how on earth am I going to do that? That means I get no time off. I'm not talking about doing this every night. I'm talking about when you reach the point where you are so tired that you can physically feel yourself diminishing in energy levels. You know that you're getting a little bit edgier, a little bit potentially grumpier than you would normally. That's the night you should be doing this. So you plan the night, you ensure you haven't got anything urgent or pressing that's going to disturb your sleep. Make sure you have a good meal before you go to bed, because I think it's important to know that you're not going to wake up, because we're talking about having a much longer sleep than you would normally, and ensure that you get yourself into a healthy cycle of that you've exercised during the day, you've drunk enough during the day, all the key things to ensure that you sleep well. Make sure you turn all the alerts off on your phone. If you can turn your phone off altogether, that would be great. Set yourself an alarm for the morning, so you're not thinking about, am I going to wake up in time? And I would have a shower or a bath so that you feel nice and clean, and get yourself to bed with a nice book. Leave your phone on the side. Please don't pick your phone back up. Don't be tempted to just check your notifications. And when you naturally feel that your eyes are closing, it might be after one page, it might be after 10 chapters. Whenever you feel that your eyes are closing, that's the time to go to sleep. And obviously then just try and do this. Now, interestingly, when I've recently done this, I did wake up after about 3-4 hours. Obviously, you get into your circadian rhythms of 90-minute intervals. I'd obviously had a good 2 circadian cycles. But I went to the toilet, I had a glass of water, and I went back to sleep. I didn't engage with my phone. I don't even know what time it was. But I could tell from, when I checked my phone in the morning. It's important to prioritize your sleep above everything else, because if you feel energized and if you feel rested, whatever you face during the rest of your daylight hours, you will do so in a calm manner. So that's the first thing. The second thing is exercise and fitness. Now, every single person is different in terms of what they enjoy doing. And I think that's the key word here, is enjoy. I can't think of anything worse than running a marathon. I don't particularly enjoy running long distance. I like doing short sprints, but the thought of running for 26 miles and obviously all the work and preparation and absolute dedication that goes into actually being able to achieve that, I know I wouldn't enjoy it. So it's not something I'm ever going to do. I prefer to go to, I'm a new gym bunny in 2023, and I do a combination of classes. I do yoga, I do Pilates, but I also do quite a lot of strength training, weightlifting, and I do a lot of HIIT still, just to make sure I'm still getting the cardio in there. So it's a real combination. And I think it's really useful to think about what you enjoy doing, but something to get your body moving every day. Now, for somebody listening, it could be karate, it could be swimming, it could be cycling, it could be getting on the rowing machine, it could be literally doing a home workout with Joe Wicks or whoever. There are so many YouTube videos out there that you can do at home. You don't even need to go to the expense of joining a gym. I personally have found that that's been an absolute eye-opener when it comes to a community and it comes to really pushing myself and challenging myself. I actually find that I was limiting myself doing it at home for the years that I was doing it. So my encouragement to you is that you find something that you enjoy doing to get your body moving every day, to get your heart rate up every day, and to push yourself every day, whether it's another 5 kilos, whether it's another 50 meters swimming or running, whatever it might be, holding that plank for another 30 seconds. Each day, challenge yourself so that you are progressing with your fitness level. And that's really important as well. And make sure to schedule in your active rest days as well. I am very conveniently managed to do those most weekends. And it's a really nice way for your body to, I just go for nice long walks, gentle walks. And then the third thing that I think is a really obvious thing to say, but actually, I think in our recruitment industry, we have become, especially those who work from home, you maybe lose track of what you're actually eating and drinking during the day. And it may sound really obvious to say this to you, but I think it's just as important to pause and stop when you're working from home to make yourself some healthy food as if you were going out for lunch from the office. Because I think when you go out for lunch from the office, you go to a noodle bar or salad bar or something like that, and you get you something really healthy. But at home, I think there's a real risk to just grab something quickly because you almost feel there's like this inherent guilt that you're working at home. So I'll just grab myself a piece of toast, I'll grab myself a pot noodle, I'll just make myself a bowl of cereal. I mean, that's all fine, but that's not going to sustain you and that's not going to nourish your body, especially when you've been moving during the day. So I always make sure I've got a bottle of water. I'm just showing up for YouTube now. Always got a bottle of water on my table to ensure that I'm drinking during the day. And it's important to make sure you're not near the snack drawer. Have some moderation with yourself, and make sure you get up and move during the day as well. So I think those 3 things are the trilogy for ensuring the best well-being. And then the golden nugget. We are a combination, and we are the result of what we see, eat, hear, and drink, and feel. We're a combination of all the elements around us. We're a combination of the people that we spend time with. But in our modern society, we're also a combination of the things that we engage with on social media. So after you've listened to this podcast, I want you to really think about how you're going to curate each and every one of your social media feeds. Are you getting a little bit jealous when you're seeing certain people on Instagram? Or are you feeling inspired? Are you getting cross with some of the posts that you're seeing on LinkedIn? I'm not talking about homogenizing and just following the same, because obviously you don't ever educate yourself then. But what I'm talking about is unfollowing people that actually create negative emotions in you, such as toxicity, negativity, jealousy, sadness, and anything other than positive. And I promise you there'll be at least one person you can unfollow. I hope it's not me. But on a serious note, I've spent a couple of years now making sure that I curate at least once a month, and I go through and just unfollow. I don't make a big song and dance about it. I very rarely unfriend on Facebook because I don't like to offend, but I just unfollow. And the only time I ever unconnect to somebody or disconnect to somebody on LinkedIn is if they've actually trolled me. But the rest of the time I'll just unfollow them because I don't want to lose the connections that they have on LinkedIn. I'm not stupid, and I'm not encouraging you to do the same. I really hope this has all been useful. All the things that I've talked about today are within everybody's reach, all within your control. None of these things will cost you any money, because I'm very conscious that people have got a consideration this year around cost. And just to ensure that you create the most contented life for yourself, carving out your own path and doing the best by yourself. I hope you found this helpful. when you're listening to this, if you want to comment as to what you do and what your life tips are to ensure the best well-being, I'd really be happy and would be really interested to actually see what those are. So thank you so much for joining me today on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast.